live. We're here for One Piece chapter 1062. This is going to be somewhat of a blitz, right? A blitz to breakdown.
Speed run.
Like a little speed run of 1062, right? I'm here with Sai. Appreciate you joining me, Sai.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
Anytime. So, we're going to get right to it. One Piece chapter 1062, Adventure in the Land of Science. When I read the title, I was like, okay, we're really starting our adventure. Like, you know, an egghead here.
Yeah, I think we're an egghead. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I think we're an egghead. That's what we're going to be doing here. So now cover art, cover story. Do you think it's Caesar?
Of course it's not Caesar. It's obviously Aokiji. This is a frozen wasteland. You see the ice on the water fountain. You see people frozen in fear. It's 1000% Aokiji in my opinion. I like the theory of Caesar, but I just can't see it.
The Caesar theory, I'm not mad at it, but it's just like people saying that it looks like Chocolate Town is melting. Well, if it was melting, when you look at the rooftop, right? If that was chocolate, it'd be falling all the way down.
Yeah.
Right? It's just stuck there. It is not melting. It is 100% either frozen. I'm not mad at the Shinokuni thing, thinking of Caesar, but it's just like, why would we care about how Chocolate Town looks after Caesar and them already escaped?
Yeah, like this is like after the fact, right? So if this was Caesar, like we're going back in time to see these people like being melted. And even then, like when we saw Caesar, he was hiding in an alleyway and he was scared of everything around him. So I really doubt this was Caesar going in, destroying the people of Chocolate Town, and then going and hiding in an alley and waiting for the Vinsmokes.
No way. This is Aokiji, and this is gonna be amazing to see where it goes. I may like create a whole freaking headcanon story about what happens, but let's get to the chapter. So chapter starts off, and Vegapunk Lilith, the Lilith version of Vegapunk, they're kind of fanning out, like Frankie, Brooke, Sanji, Usopp. They're just like, oh my god,
poor Frankie.
You know, for Frankie, it's like that's expected, right?
Yeah.
I forgot about Sanji and how he feels about, like, he's more like going crazy because of the woman, right?
Yeah, he just likes the women. I mean, I feel bad for Frankie though, man. Like he wants to show Lilith his creations, but it's just not gonna be good. Like anything Frankie makes, I feel like Lilith is just gonna make, or at least Vegapunk will make something 10 times better. Like it's just gonna be like a kid at a industrial factory.
Well, I think what's gonna happen is everything Lilith or Vegapunk makes is gonna be better. But what's gonna happen? Frankie's gonna make something that Vegapunk is look like oh damn, like that's amazing.
Yeah.
You know? So I think Frankie's gonna be innovative in some way that's gonna impress Vegapunk, right?
Yeah.
But I think Vegapunk would have no choice but to I think appreciate Frankie, because Frankie worked on his own body. You know what I mean? And for Vegapunk, it seems like he did the same thing, but he kind of distributed his conscience
to like 6 different bodies,
right?
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, Frankie worked on his body. Vegapunk, I think, obviously did some stuff to his body as well, ways to kind of make sure his inventions live forever. But I guess we can talk about just how Vegapunk Lilith is in general, where Lilith is looting, right, and trying to get valuables,
trying to steal that money. Yeah,
trying to steal
gold
money
digging,
so that they can research more. And again, this is telling us something, because the world government, it seems like they're not giving Vegapunk too much where they can mass produce.
I think they're avoiding giving Lilith money or Vegapunk money. Like Vegapunk is so crazy. Yeah. 6 different bodies, sea beasts.
Yeah.
Like just so many inventions. Like I wouldn't want to give this person a lot of money, right? It's like one of those hypotheticals. Like, what would you do with $1 million? Well, Vegapunk would create a whole new era. like you don't want that to happen. Vegapunk is already insane, and Vegapunk's being ran dry.
Yeah. You kind of have to limit Vegapunk just based off of.
Gotta nerf them somehow.
Yeah, because if you give Vegapunk too much power, then you might be overrun.
You know how they said we're gonna replace the Shichibukai, the 7 warlords, with pacifistas and the Seraphim? Yeah. I say nix that. Just say you're gonna replace the warlords with Vegapunk. That is the better way to say it.
Because that's essentially what it is. Like,
yeah.
on the back of Vegapunk. So I think with them, they're realizing, okay, we cannot do this anymore. We have to move on from her or
yeah,
him,
it's too crazy.
Them. Yeah, it's just too much, you know. What about the random Zoro hype we got here?
The Zoro hype is crazy, and it's weird because like people, every time Zoro gets hyped, people look at Sanji and they like kind of boo, you know. And it's like, oh, like Zoro could, you know, kill Lilith, Robin could kill Lilith, but I always want to defend Sanji. And Sanji just doesn't want to hurt women, right? Like he's hard-eyesing over here, and it's just how it is. This is how it always is. Zoro isn't afraid to slice people down. Sanji doesn't want to hurt a woman.
Exactly.
And I really respect how not only Zoro is getting the proper respect in this regards, but Robin is as well. I don't think we've ever seen Robin get hyped up like this. So it's really nice to see, especially since we just got her new bounty a couple chapters ago. Like she got that 900 million bounty. And now people are looking at her like, yo, like this is a monster. Like forget Nami, forget Frankie. Like not like Robin is over here like staring Lilith down.
Yeah. I love it. It's a different perspective because this is like they are specifically hyping Robin's strength, right?
Yeah.
This is something she can do. And it resonates a bit differently because now she has the bounty to back it up. You know, she's close to a billy.
Yeah.
And so in the context that they put it, yeah, it looks like Zoro and Robin, they're powerhouses, but we know Robin's like her main thing is because of her knowledge. But like at the end of the day, she has a billion berry bounty and Inoue has a devil child.
And
so
Demonia.
Like,
yeah.
It's gonna be it makes so much sense even if it's out of context. So I love it. But here's the thing, it's like Zoro hype doesn't mean like Oda shitting on Sanji. We know how strong Sanji is. Like we know that Sanji can probably take out all these CBs himself, right?
Yeah,
and like,
exoskeleton and all that. Like of course.
Come on. And I think that's the beauty of the Straw Hats, that you can be lulled to sleep by Sanji and Usopp and Frankie, but there's still monsters like Zoro and Robin. Just
Jinbei.
Even
like come on.
So it's like, but Zoro's request here is saying, hey, there's something from you I want. You better play nice. What does Zoro want?
So I am leaning towards the obvious answer. I think he wants to restore Ibisu Town. It's a plot point that is unresolved. We never touched on it at the end of Wano. I feel like at some point we have to go back to it and say, well, we have people just laughing against their will. We have to like cure them to some extent. And who better to do it than Vegapunk, who has knowledge of devil fruits and who is a better scientist than Caesar. I feel like that is the only real thing I could see. I see a couple people memeing about it, saying, oh, maybe Zoro wants booze. Maybe he wants something to do with his left eye. Maybe a question about the Reaper we saw. But I feel like that's all kind of mundane, and Zoro hasn't really mentioned anything akin to that. And the only thing he's really shown emotion towards is Ibisu Town and Yasui. So, I mean, what do you think about this?
I think the Ibisu Town one makes the most sense, right? Just because of how he cared about those people, and it's like it makes sense to go to Vegapunk, but here's the thing, though: is that a detriment to Chopper?
Oh, 1000%. But
right?
Chopper's been nagged since Punk Hazard. He couldn't cure the kids with gigantification. Law couldn't. Those kids were left in the street. I honestly thought post time skip Chopper would do something about it, and he didn't. And that's fine. You know, Chopper can't be the doctor that cures everything. Frankie can't be the genius scientist. Zoro isn't the world's strongest swordsman yet. And that's just how it is. I feel like it's fine.
They have to.
I feel like it's fine. Yeah.
It's just weird because I think Vegapunk is going to help Chopper grow in regards to giving Chopper the I guess the instruments, the what's necessary for him to do things like maybe remove things like Law did for the kids in Punk Hazard, right? Where he was he's a surgeon, right? So he can do things like that. Maybe that's how Chopper levels up. Frankie definitely will. But I do think with Zoro specifically asking Vegapunk, it has to be the smile, right? It has to be something with smile fruits and saving the people in there and changing them, especially with knowing Vegapunk is kind of the connoisseur with that. So
1000%.
That's the only thing I can think of. It's just odd a little bit with Zoro, just because a lot of things we felt like Zoro could have done in Wano he didn't do. Like outside of just strength things, like talking about like the samurai
development wise,
development wise in his lineage. So
one thing about this too is that since we talked about the cover page story with the Blackbeard pirates and we saw that they might potentially be going after the Roponeglyph in Whole Cake Island, that means that they will have to eventually go after the one in Zou and Wano. And who did we leave behind in Wano? We left Yamato behind. And if we ever want to go back to Wano and either meet Yamato or etc., then I guess Zoro learning the cure for the Smile Devil fruits would give us another reason to go back there just to cure them even.
Yeah.
So I feel like there's a lot of things tying Wano to this arc still. I mean, we even got a flashback of Wano last chapter, the chapter before. So Oda has not forgotten about that.
Yeah. I think Oda is setting up like a large-scale assault on the places that the Straw Hats have visited almost. And so the only problem is like, how would they find Zou, right? Unless they have a favorite card, or I mean, the thing is, if they go to Wano and they take down everyone in Wano, the Minks are there. They could basically force them to lead them to Zou. But we'll see where that goes. I do think this is insane setup for what could possibly happen with the Blackbeard pirates. I guess something else in that vein is around that area was Chaka. There's a Logic Vegapunk.
Yeah.
That said they want to talk to one. Yeah. He wants to talk to the Straw Hat crew, right? Saying, all right, you know, because he warned Lilith, like, all right, you gotta pay attention. Don't
mess with them.
My thing is like, I'm not sure how close Chaka was, right? But do you think it's the same thing like Pain, where they can see through each other's eyes?
Oh, 1000%. I think it's either they see through the eyes, or it has something to do with the device, that antenna that's sticking out of Lilith and Shaka's head.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's how they're communicating and maybe even sensing what's around them even.
Okay. Because they said it like if they were there at that time, right? Like
yeah.
They could feel everything and see everything that they were doing. So that's pretty cool. But Logic saved them. I guess we can jump to the Bonnie section where Bonnie mentions that she's been to Egghead before. Right?
Yeah.
And then it was still run-of-the-mill lab. It was nothing.
I think that's really important, the run-of-the-mill lab portion.
Yeah.
Like, it almost sounds like Vegapunk made severe advancements all of a sudden. Like, he snapped a finger, and then all of a sudden, it's 500 years in the future.
It seems like he probably started to get support from the world government.
Either the world government, or I don't want to, like, disattribute him, but it could even be a devil fruit. It could be something to do with the moon, or even Dr. Tsukimi, but I feel like there has to be something that helped Vegapunk accelerate his technology to some extent.
Yeah. I think this does tell us that at some point, unless it was somebody else's lab, right?
Yeah.
Somebody else's lab, and they're just gone there. But the fact that Bonnie went there went with Kuma, right? And Kuma probably was an old buddy of Vegapunk, so maybe Kuma showed Vegapunk the island. It's just so many possibilities. But Bonnie going there before, I think that's a major thing. And then we find out that Kuma is Bonnie's dad. The crazy thing here is that at first I thought it wasn't biological, but then I think about how Connie looks, right? Connie, who is the Queen Dowager, meaning that that's the queen where her husband died, right?
Yes. Which
is interesting because technically Kuma, you could say he's dead, but I'm like, okay, is Kuma was Kuma the king when her mom was the queen? Like, is it, or did he take over? You know what I'm saying? Did he force her mom? Like, I'm not sure, but it's like, it feels like my instinct is telling me that it's not biological.
There might be something more to it, and I feel like that has to do with his title. Because when we were first introduced to Kuma, he was titled the Tyrant.
Yeah.
So it's like, I feel like maybe he took over the country. Maybe he was like Genghis Khan. Who really knows? I mean, the guy's a robot, right? Like, we're not really going to find out anything. And
not right now.
I feel like as far as restoring Kuma, I feel like there has to be a way. Like, One Piece, for the most part, like 99%, it is a happy-go-lucky story. The main characters always win. And I feel like if Kuma didn't get brought back to some extent, I would be a little bit shocked.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. With Kuma, it's his consciousness, right?
Yeah.
Is it gone forever, right? Was it transferred to something else? this is a part of a large scale, deep rooted plan that we don't really know where it began or where it ends. So I'm assuming we do get Kuma back, right? At some point, maybe not to his fullest capability, but we're going to get that person. He's going to be back in some capacity, I think. And then we may get some more information about the perception, because one of my main things about One Piece is perception versus reality. And I think that that's Oda's. I think that's what Oda starts off from, right? I think that's Oda's base. Okay, what can I have the people perceive this person to be versus what they are? And so with characters, he typically does that. Even with the Straw Hats, right? Like when they talk about Luffy, like I heard he's this, I heard he's this. So with Kuma, him being the tyrant, we have this like completely negative view of how he was as a king, which could be completely false, right? That maybe that's not maybe that's not how it was, but that's just what's out there, that he was a tyrant. And so my thing is, like, if he's a tyrant, why does Bonnie care about him so much?
I mean, not to mention, like, when Sabo and the Revolutionaries talked about him, we got an image of Kuma with a pink background and him smiling. They're like, yo,
they say he was a very kind person.
What happened to the kind-hearted Kuma? And then it's like, wait, kind-hearted? Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
And I mean, I guess this could tie back to what Shaka said, like, I'm interested in that crew. And I feel like the reason why he might be interested in the Straw Hats is because Kuma went out of his way to program PX0 to defend the Sunny for 2 years until the Straw Hats come back together.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's why Shaka might be like, okay, I need to see the crew that Kuma was willing to give up his life for.
Yeah.
And I feel like that might be the reason why he's like, yo, like, I need to see these dudes. Like, what is their size, you know?
Yeah, no, I think that's a great point. But I think Kuma basically protecting the Straw Hats for 2 years, that could be part of his demise, right? Or the Vegapunk's demise.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing. Kuma had to request that. Or in some way, that was part of the plan. For this, Vegapunk maybe didn't know anything about the Straw Hats or whatever. He's like, okay, why did he do that? But then why would Vegapunk risk that? Right?
Yeah. And not to mention, like, when we got the flashback that people were going after the Sunny during that 2-year time skip, do you ever think it's funny that they always said bounty hunters and random pirates were trying to take the ship, but they never said Marines were trying to take the ship? So I feel like he must have called in a favor saying, hey, Marines, please do not take the Sunny. I'm giving up my life to save the Sunny.
It's so weird. It's so weird because if I'm a Marine, I don't give a damn. Like,
oh, same, dude. After he loses his memory, man, I am taking that. I am taking that ship.
I don't care. But
like,
the thing is,
he's gonna stop me now.
Kuma was pretty beat up as well. Like, after those 2 years, so like, I would assume like some decently strong people came by at some point.
Like Vice Admiral Yamakanji could destroy him. Yeah.
So it's just like. It's just so weird, and I'm sure we're gonna get context behind it once we find out more about Kuma. But this is like, I think this was major reveals. That's why I don't understand why people are saying this chapter was a lull, because man, it's so much.
It is a good chapter.
It's really good chapter.
This is a good chapter.
We can get to like the hologram stuff, like that whole hologram.
Oh yeah,
point.
like the whole like Vegapunk Egghead Island stuff. Yeah, this is insane.
The Vega music, the Vega Carnival, like that. Here's the thing. What I think is really dope is like Luffy going through this hologram, right?
Yeah.
And then Vegapunk punching the hologram.
The photon gloves.
The photon glove. That's insane. Where it's like, can this be replicated with like just ability?
Dude,
right?
not to mention like when Atlas hit Luffy, it hurt him. Like it damaged a rubber man. Like this was akin to arm hockey in a way.
So what's happening is like Vegapunk. Okay, if anyone understands devil fruits and devil fruit weaknesses, is going to be Vegapunk.
It's Vegapunk, yeah.
And so Vegapunk, in some way, I think, has created countermeasures for probably every single devil fruit out there.
Yeah, they don't even care. They literally said, "Hey, what you decide is up to you." Like, right. I mean, I am way past that. Like, I don't care about that shit no more.
It's so insane. Where it's like. Imagine, right? Like, if you say I'm a person, it's a hologram, right?
Yeah.
But it's a hologram that can hurt you, but you can't hurt it.
Like, how do you fight that?
like,
Dude, and it's a hologram, so you can't use hockey, right? Like, it's not like a Logia devil fruit. Like, like what do you do?
Remember, like, when we were fighting Prometheus and Zeus, and it was just like, oh, hockey doesn't work? You know, this could possibly be like a technique or something that Luffy could learn to do something like that. You know what I mean? Where it's like another level where it's like, these are photonic gloves that can interact with light. Like, how would these work against Prometheus? You know what I mean? Or Zeus? Like, that's what I was thinking.
Prometheus, Zeus, Kizaru. Like, I mean, these gloves are
Kizaru
kind
is
of
like
nuts.
a major one. Yeah, people were talking like, so what also they said was perception shapes your sense of reality, right?
Yeah.
And so that goes back to what I was saying. I've been saying for a long time about One Piece, just like, you know, like what the perception of things are typically isn't what they actually are. But what I like what they said is like, it goes back to just the core of One Piece, right? Deciding for yourself, where, you know, Vegapunk is saying like, the debates on what's real, they're as old as time, right? If it's something you have to decide for yourself, right? You decide what's real or not, which I'm starting to think, what if Vegapunk isn't human, right? But is actually a creation himself. And so I wonder if he, like, the perception of like Vegapunk being real, that's something that's always questioned. And even some of his inventions is like, wait, that's not real. There's no way that's possible. And I think even for him, breaking through those barriers of like, okay, that's not possible. That's not real. You can't do that. Kind of probably got him to where he is now, you know? So I absolutely loved what Atlas was saying this chapter, and just the potential of what could happen. Even in this moment, though, Bonnie said that Atlas was lying, right? That she's Vegapunk, which tells me that Bonnie did not meet Atlas back in the day. Right?
No, Atlas is brand new.
Atlas got to be brand new, or Vegapunk did not, I guess, like siphon himself off to 6 different people back then when they met, you know? So
I mean, back when Bonnie was here, this was just a simple laboratory, and now it's like what, like Future Island.
Yeah.
And I mean, we're talking about the photon gloves, but we attribute it to Armament Hockey, but I want to bring it back to the AC unit. AC unit could it could detect living organisms. It has sensors that can monitor living creatures. Like, we're talking about Armament Hockey here, but it's like, I look at the aircon unit, I'm like, yo, like, this is kind of like observation hockey.
Yeah, it says, with the aircon, because that's interesting. It's almost like an air conditioner. It says, it's set to tropical mode, right? Because it can specify and regulate the temperature of an area. And what's interesting about it as well is like, this is what Vegapunk was trying to do on Karakuri, right? Yeah,
and they couldn't succeed,
right? So I think now it makes sense that it's perfected, but it's insane that Vegapunk has come up with I guess variants to mimic what you can do with natural ability, right? Because like you said, it can monitor living creatures, which is almost like, you know, like when we used to watch those shows that like when people are there, it can monitor who's there, right? It knows when people have arrived on the island or something. It seems like Vegapunk has gotten to that place where, okay, even if you try to infiltrate Egghead, we know when you've arrived.
Like, it doesn't matter.
It does not matter. And so I believe Vegapunk has been slowly but surely rebelling against the world government, because they don't want Vegapunk to mass produce all these different things, right? They want to keep these things to themselves. They want war machines, and they don't want, it's almost as if they don't want to make the people too happy. Like, if we're gonna give every island an aircon, you know,
every island food. Come on, like if I was Kaido, this food machine would be like a nightmare to me. Like, I don't want the people of Ibisu Town to eat. Come on, it took me 10 years to starve these guys.
Yeah, exactly. So you know, and I don't want them to be in like have the aircon. They can regulate temperature. Or all of a sudden they're like amazing farmers and stuff like that. No, this aircon, we gotta keep it to Egghead, you know?
Yeah.
You know, we can use it when
limit the funding.
Yeah, exactly. You can't mass produce this stuff. So, and again, with Vegapunk, there's so many instances of things that Vegapunk has done that you could look at it as, you know, protest. like what Kuma did, even the Devil Fruit in Punk Hazard, and saying it was a failure. Bro, that was not a failure.
It was perfect.
It was
the only bad thing might be that it was pink, but that's it.
That's
right?
the only thing. But you know, Green Bull saw Momonosuke, right? And Green Bull is gonna go back and tell him, hey, I saw a full blown dragon just look just like Kaido, and there's only one place
something's
they can
up
get it
from.
here. They know it's like Vegapunk. So I'm sure that was after. Well, we got to go back to Lucia as well and what happened there, where they referenced that incident. We jump forward to what Rob Lucci, Kaku, and those guys said. It said that, you know, Lucci is saying, like, okay, they're gonna kill the most useful man in the world. Does it have something to do with Lucia? You know, and so it begs the question: did Vegapunk create this thing? Was Vegapunk give them the final touches to make this thing possible? Which would make sense, right? This is Vegapunk's wheelhouse. And did it feel like, okay, we're at a place where we don't need Vegapunk anymore? It's just that you're attacking Vegapunk at this point while using Vegapunk's creations. So does Vegapunk have a failsafe? Right?
I think he either has. He has to have a failsafe, right? He's like so smart. There's no way he doesn't.
That's what I'm saying.
And here's the thing: when you brought back Leloucia, and you mentioned like, oh, maybe he had a hand to play in that. And I agree. Like, we saw a giant laser beam shoot down at Leloucia, and who is renowned for laser beams? It's Vegapunk.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying that he created Uranus or whatever, but he definitely had something to do with it. Maybe he modified it. Maybe he gave it that laser beam.
Maybe it's a recreation, right?
A recreation.
Remember, like Frankie, he had the blueprints for Pluton, but it was like the blueprints for something to contest Pluton, right? So maybe there are other blueprints out there, because that's what Vegapunk is all about, blueprints. Maybe there are blueprints to contest Uranus. And so, therefore, Vegapunk created a copy of what Uranus is supposed to be. And that's what got rid of Leloucia.
Not even to mention, like, earlier in the chapter, he made weaponized sea beasts. He's making Shirahoshi Poseidon look like fodder. Because you have these mechanical sea beasts who are as big as the actual Sea Kings, just over here with potential laser beams, potential swords and stuff. Like, Vegapunk is a madman.
Yeah, Vegapunk. So basically,
Solo's the verse.
Vegapunk is recreating ancient weapons in his own way. That's insane.
And we don't even know if it's on purpose or if it's just by accident because he's too smart. Like, we have no real idea.
Yeah. Oh man, that's insane when you think about it that way. Vegapunk can recreate ancient weapons
just by being 500 years in the future.
Because that's essentially what he's doing. Because if we go off the theory that he created like whatever it is was in the sky, then he can recreate whatever Pluton is. I'm sure he can recreate it. Like if he has the blueprints,
easily.
You know, because
blueprints and money.
Blueprints and money. That's the thing. Blueprints and money. And we know this partnership was going to come to a head because at the end of the day, with Vegapunk and all the creations, he was becoming too powerful, right?
Yeah.
He's getting to a point where he can create armies of things that could just overrun the Marines and basically be the one in control if he wanted to. And so the world government, they're now more aware and saying, okay, like he's getting too strong, he's getting too powerful, too influential. We have to get rid of him. And Vegapunk could have maybe kind of planned all this by giving them the kind of broken Kuma Seraphim, you know, where they have to return the egg. Maybe he was like, okay, we're going to give him to him. He's going to be obviously going to have problems, and that may have them show their hand, you know? So, I look at Vegapunk as the person being better than, right?
Yeah.
So remember Queen knows his inventions. He modified his devil fruit body, which is insane, right? But something he had as well, which I thought was pretty dope, was the voice activated laser. You know what I mean? Where it's like he said something is like it could actually attack you as well. I'm sure Vegapunk has something like that, but better, where like it can actually sense who you are, right? It's not gonna attack you. But I think also something that in Whole Cake Island was like Judge, he was working with Big Mom, right? And he was so desperate for power and resources that he did not see that he was about to be betrayed. I don't think Vegapunk is the same way. I think Vegapunk is much more aware, right? And smarter and knows, okay, this is possible. I have to create a situation in which I can protect myself and defend myself just in case this happens. And I think that's part of the conversation with the Straw Hats. We're talking to them and maybe coming to his own conclusion, right? Based on talking to them, like where I'm going to go with this and who I'm going to support going forward. So,
and I mean, going back to the allegiance of these weapons here, like, is the Kuma Seraphim even on CP0's side? Because I don't think so. Like,
my thing is, like, if they decided to do this, it's like go against Vegapunk without having 100% certainty that these Seraphim are working with them. This is one of the dumbest decisions ever.
It's so bad. It's so bad.
Ever. Because it's not like you invite Vegapunk to marry Jawa and then you just ambush him and get rid of him there.
Yeah, with no Seraphim, no nothing.
You're sending CP0 agents to do
not
your
even
bidding.
all of them.
Just 3 of them.
Yeah.
Right? And the thing is, if the Seraphim are not on your side, you're basically saying that 3 CP0 agents can replace the warlords, which I don't think so. So what are we doing here?
Dude, you know, like, I don't know what Oda was his intention was for this last chapter, or like last page, but we have like Rob Lucci, Kaku, and Stussy here, and I just don't feel intimidated. Like, even if Vegapunk wasn't here, even if it was just the Straw Hats, like, come on,
yeah, honestly,
who are they gonna beat?
Even if the Straw Hats weren't here, right?
Yeah, who are they gonna, like? They even, like, I don't know, like Seraphims. Imagine 7 Seraphims of the Warlords versus CP0. Who would win?
And you know what? You know what the problem is as well?
What's up?
What we saw from CP0 and Wano.
Oh my gosh.
It didn't do anything.
Dude, do you remember they said, hey, the mass CP0 agents are the strongest ones? They got like destroyed in Wano. Hey, but one thing, one like crazy out of the bush theory that I have is Hattori, that pigeon. I don't know what it is. I have a feeling that pigeon is a Zoan user
and really strong.
Really strong. Last minute, that pigeon is gonna turn into a person, and he is the leader of CP0.
The only part is just like, why didn't he do anything? And he's lobby.
Hey, he was tired. He was tired.
He was tired, bro.
He was taking a break. He was hungover.
Wait for the full moon.
he didn't want to. It's because he's CP0. He wasn't CP9. He didn't want to interfere.
I got it. He didn't want to give up his like identity that soon. I feel it.
He's an undercover agent. So speaking of which, though, what do you think of Lucci here? Because he kind of like starts questioning the world government. I love it. Wondering what's up.
I love it. Rob Lucci is one of the characters that I was disappointed in when we saw him at the referee again, because it felt like he hadn't made any progression even after the world government was trying to actively kill him for failing.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, so he's just right back to the same person that he was even after all that. This is showing at least some progression, right?
He's thinking, bro. He's thinking.
Right. He's at least like thinking about it. Like, wait, what's going on? And so with that, I'm not mad at it. I do love this. I hope we start to go further and further with it. I'm not sure how far Oda's gonna go, because he's trying, even in the midst of it, he had the others reel him back in. So I love the idea. It's making me like Rob Lucci a little more. But I hope it goes somewhere. I hope it just not like.
I feel like it will, because it's such a detractment from his original character. Because I'm rewatching Enies Lobby right now, and Lucci, his whole character, he literally says, "I don't really care, as long as I get to kill people, it's fine by me." So it's like now that he's like, "Yo, I have to kill Vegapunk," like I wonder what's up with this. What's like something's awry. Right,
he's starting to question. He's starting to believe. He's like Neo, bro.
I wonder if it's the 2-year. He's like Nero. I wonder if it's the 2-year time skip, because during the 2-year time skip, he was the one who was being hunted, right? For like a little bit. So he probably has like a sour taste right now. Like he's like, you know what? I like the world government because I have a job, but I'm not like their best friend anymore.
Yeah. So I think this could be an amazing development. This gave me an idea for like a good idea for a YouTube short to just go back and remind people of Rob Lucci's cover story thing, because some people probably still don't even know about it.
No, it's fucking hidden.
Yeah, if you don't read the cover stories, you have no idea about like Rob Lucci and everything he went through after they lost to CP to the Straw Hats. So I Rob Lucci is one of my favorite characters because I thought it'd be some more progression with him after like losing and all the different stuff. And nothing really changed. But this gives me hope for that character, and just like it shows that Oda typically has a plan for these characters. Cause when I saw him at the Reverie, man, I was so disappointed because just like he was like right back.
Dude, honestly, I was so happy. Like, I love it when the best characters in my opinions are the ones that support the Celestial Dragons.
Oh, so you like Green Bull and
no, I'm kidding, but I do like Green Bull. I gotta say, I'm gonna defend my man Green Bull. I like Green Bull. I like Akainu. I am a huge Marine and world government fanboy. I just don't like the Celestials, but Rob Lucci has a special place in my heart because he believes in justice. Like, I mean, that's what we're all here for, right? Like, we want the best outcome for One Piece. And hey, Rob Lucci, Akainu, they're delivering it. They want world peace.
I just wish that Rob Lucci, like, because right now we're saying he's not intimidating because we haven't seen his progression, right? I just wish like that was made clear enough just how much they've progressed, because sometimes what happens is that I would say some of the fans feel like the Straw Hats are the only people progressing, right? Yeah. Other people can be doing other things to get better and progress as well, but you know, sometimes they don't see it. So
I mean, I personally feel like Rob Lucci definitely did progress alongside Kanku. I can't really speak for Stussy, but as far as Rob Lucci goes, like, I've always seen him as a heavy hitter. But the thing with Rob Lucci is that even if he was awakened, even if he did get a lot stronger, Armament Haki, Observation Haki, whatever, we haven't seen Conqueror's Haki. We haven't seen him fight any Yonko opponents like Luffy did. So while he did get stronger, like, how strong could he get? Could he actually become Kaido strong, you know, off screen? Like, I don't really think that's the case. Like, I feel like he'd give, like, you know, Sanji and Zoro a pretty hard time, but let's be real here. He doesn't have a candle against Gear 5th Luffy.
Yeah, that's the thing. Most people aren't, so, you know.
It's hard. Like, even in this chapter, like, Luffy got smacked by Atlas, and what did he do? He didn't care. He literally started eating food. Like, he was like, whatever. Like, I bet in Luffy's mind, he's like, I could whoop Atlas. Like, I don't really care. Just give me a hot dog.
Yeah. It's like, that's the thing. Like, they're not a threat. You know what I'm saying?
They're not a threat. I mean, same with Zoro and everybody else. Like, at this point of the story, to be a threat to the Straw Hats, you have to be, like, I don't know, like a living legend.
Yeah, probably. I mean, I think at this point we're at a place in the story where or at least this arc, at least it's not Wano. It's not an over looming threat that like Luffy has to take down. Yeah. You know, it's like
Stussy isn't being hyped up for a couple of years. Yay, watch out for Stussy and Kaku.
Come on, bro. Like that's nothing, you know. But we reached the end. We don't want to drag this on anymore. There's other things we can get into. Maybe we'll talk about them another time. But Sai, appreciate you joining me for this.
Yes,
quick breakdown,
thank you.
Man.
Yeah, thanks for having me. You guys, if you want to check out my channel, make sure to go on youtube.com and check out my channel at B.D.A. Law. I post videos there every now and then, so feel free to check it out.
Yeah, you can definitely check out my channel. Subscribe, SYV to Sai on YouTube. Yeah, I'm everywhere, right? Twitter, all that, and drop a like on all my videos. All right, but I appreciate it. Y'all make sure to like, subscribe, go check out Sai for sure. Channel in the title and in the description, and we'll catch you guys in the next one.
Yeah, catch you guys later. Peace out.
Peace.
I start doubting me, I felt lost.